My whole life, I feel like I'm in freestyling because, like you say, man, it's survival mode, and you only know what you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, and a lot of times, man, within the community, they can only give you what they know. So a lot of times we don't have, and now I'm not making excuses, but at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. When you see it and you see how things play out within our community, you see what it is.
No doubt. And we got to do better, man. The responsibility of our community, the safety of our community is all of our responsibilities. We can't rely upon the law enforcement to maintain safety. It's a collaborative effort at the end of the day, but if we manage ourselves, we don't need them to manage us at the end of the day. And I think oftentimes when we don't know how to manage our own, it spills out to now someone calling the police to manage the situation that seems unmanageable. And a lot of times, again, a lot of these folks that are in these communities are hurt. They're dealing with generational hurt, generational trauma, genetically and environmentally. The cycle continues. And if nothing changes, then what? The saying goes, nothing changes.
Saying go on, man. And then you got, and people have to realize too, a lot of people, officers, when they come in, that's where, they come into the neighborhoods, they aren't residents there. That's a job for them. So they in and they out. So the way they view things is real different. They don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't live here, like, so it is what it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of times too, man, when you got policing, I find it to be kind of difficult. And I think it's difficult when it comes in terms of law enforcement, where you have a lot of outsiders patrolling the neighborhood. Even for myself, I'm not from Charlotte, but I'm out here patrolling Charlotte. It's a different culture, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think a lot of people understand that, or even want to understand that when they get into law enforcement. Like, the dynamics is a little different here. I'm from up top, I'm from the West. It's a little different, the culture different here. So, when it comes to policing, it's like almost like a communication barrier sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of stuff, man. There's just so many different layers to this, for real.
Absolutely. One of the things too, I remember being a police officer and being very ignorant during my younger years to the plight and the conditioning, and I felt like when I became a police officer, I made it. And at the time when I was hired, it was a black police chief, and so I felt I had an idol or someone to look up to, right? Because he represented black excellence to me. Mm-hmm. And not having a consistent father figure in my life, I was always gravitating towards any male that would be a role model to give me some instructions or guidance on what's the next chapter for my life. Can you show me how to do X, Y, and Z? I live a life of trial and error, so I had to learn how to do things on my own while I've still been stuck. And so when I looked up to this chief, and when he left, a part of me left with him. Yeah. And it kind of broke my heart, because he was my example of a hero. And then when that hero left, it was like, dang, now what do I have?
Right.
And so, that stuff weighed on me, man. And this is the thing. This is really important, right? This is why I advocate for counseling to be incorporated in law enforcement, because I was dealing and contending with things that predated my entrance into law enforcement, right? So, for example, the abandonment of my father when I was younger. That stuff followed me in law enforcement, so that when the chief left, it impacted me. It created stress in me, because now I was at, woe is me, what am I gonna do? Now, granted, I wore the mask, I dressed it up like I knew what I was doing and I was good, but inside I was in shambles. When I had hair, I had waves, and I was fit, and the uniform was crisp and all that jazz. I was a top gun on the SWAT team and all this other stuff, but all of that was a cover. It was a makeup for what was really going on inside of me. And this is where, unfortunately, my career took a turn for the worse, where I ended up getting sued multiple times and suffering indictments behind using excessive force. And a lot of that came from unresolved stress. My unresolved stress created a mess, and it always came out in the use of force encounter with someone who resisted arrest. And you know what I got hit with, champ? This is the thing where things turned for me. When I was sitting in the jail cell on my first appearance for that indictment that they brought against me, it hit me that, all my use of forces, after the trial, all my use of forces were legally justified, but morally questionable. You peep that? They were legally justified. I could justify it because I was found not guilty. Because I legally did my job, but they were morally questionable. Did I really have to do that? And so my psychology was off. It was off. But I didn't know. Back then, there's this thing called burnout. I didn't know I was dealing with burnout.
Yeah.
And it spilled out into the way I did my job. And I had a supervisor once tell me, he said, hey, if you're not getting complaints, you're not doing your job. And look at what shit got me.
Yo.
I got sued 4 times, 2 indictments. So I followed the insight of somebody who's a veteran, and it set me up to fail. And then guess what? When I cash them tickets, okay, that's what we gotta do?
Right.
Because we going into a community where people don't respect the police, so we gotta figure out how to make them respect police. And then next thing you know, they throw me under the bus and fed me to the wolves.
That's how it is.